If I press go live, let me just confirm it actually does do something on my end. Yeah, it does. Okay, yep, that's all. Yep, we're live. So,
And you've immediately started to sound worse.
oh my god, you're joking.
Oh
Well,
no, you sound normal again.
yeah, until the next 10 seconds, which I'll probably sound bad. Well, we'll see if this is a 30-second stream or a 30-minute stream, but it's probably somewhere in between. Anyways, hello
Moving
again.
around. Okay,
Yeah.
real quick.
But
This inspired something for me.
yeah,
Something funny. It does work with one of Oodie's intro topics. So one of his questions, let me pull it up, is where is it? If you had to give the Ten Tails a new form/design, what would you have it look like? My answer is gonna be a dinosaur. T-Rex, but with 10 tails.
Okay. Because we go to that one really quick. So, Immortal, if you
which,
had
yeah.
to redesign the Tin Tails, or just give it a new form, new design, a form 1.5, whatever you want it to be, what would you have it look like or be?
I would make it look like I was looking at some fan arts of the Ten Tails. Some of them looks pretty damn intimidating, like really damn scary. And I was actually thinking making the Ten Tails look similar to like a look like Jura except more bigger and more intimidating. I mean more scary with bigger, sharper teeth, like the same one with the original Ten Tails. I don't know.
Okay. Well, I've heard some people complain that they don't like the Ten Tails design, especially in Boruto, but in Naruto as well, because it looks too much like a blob monster, just looks too weird. But then other people think that it looks good because it's supposed to be a monster and an ugly one at that. Just this
Yeah,
amalgamation blob, which in a way is the point.
yeah. Me personally, yeah. It's the Ten Tails in Boruto is a juvenile, so pretty much it's not going to really look like it's an adult. Its adult
Why does
counterpart.
Sasuke know that though?
Well, I think it's mainly because of the teeth and how
Its
and
teeth
how
are
small it is
perfectly
compared
brushed.
to.
We talked about this
Huh?
last time, Kamui. The idea we came to is because of the stage it's in. It's in like the first stage or whatever. So Sasuke is commenting juvenile in reference to that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then again, though, he says it before he realizes it's a Ten Tails. He just says it's a Biju when he says that. As far as he knows, the other Biju don't have that.
What do you mean?
The other Biju don't start in the blob form. They're just
Well,
Well, the Three Tails
because
kind of did. It was a
Sasuke didn't
oh
larva.
yeah,
say that.
Doesn't even make sense.
I
Well,
mean
actually, the
Saiken could have
Seven Tails
probably.
do.
The
I mean
only tail
Saiken
beast that
is.
just changes, metamorphosizes.
I mean Saiken's
Chome.
literally a slug Biju. He probably could have looked like a blob.
Yeah. Regardless of
Holy
Saiken, that's like
stop
maybe the
it.
second most needed change. I think freaking Chome, the stupid insect, is the design that just doesn't make sense for a Biju. Make it anything else. Like the 4 and
Real
5
quick,
tails look
though,
similar, and I don't even care. It's just a cool design. Just freaking change Chome. Why is it a bug?
especially since Shino did nothing with it.
I could have killed Chome with a freaking fly swatter. Like, what are they doing?
But my reasoning for the dinosaur thing, though, is that the Ten Tails is like a old extinct progenitor type thing, and I mean that's basically dinosaur for you.
That
It's like
also makes me wonder where did the Ten Tails really come from? I mean, we know it's a seedling, but yeah.
Yeah.
well, you said you wonder. Do you have an idea?
I mean, well, actually, yeah. Amato did say that the Otsukis did come from a planet. I had assumed they came from another dimension or something.
I don't think he
I
said
don't think
they
he
came
says
from
they came from a planet. I
Well,
think he just says they're invaders of this planet.
Yeah.
Well, hold
Parasites,
on.
they're a
I think
seed.
this was in chapter 45. Yeah, hold on. Let me see. They're invaders from another planet. They literally, yeah, he says this. He says it, to put it plainly, they're invaders from another planet. They're alien parasites. Perhaps
Okay,
a
he
bit
is
of an
implying they
over.
come from another planet in particular.
Yeah,
That's interesting. I never
because I was
considered
just,
that. Are you sure that's about the
yeah,
Otsuskis and not the Tintails? Or I mean the other way
it's
around.
for the Otsuskis. Yeah, it's for the Otsuskis. Because here's the thing: if the Otsuskis are constantly assaulting planets by bringing in Ten-Tails with them, then there's got to be a chance. There has to be a like the Ten-Tails have to originate from a planet, or maybe you know something that is within that planet that's creating them. Blah blah blah. I don't know. I hope Ikimoto goes over the lore. I hope Ikimoto does actually show us what's where the Otsuskis reside. I don't know. I don't know when he's gonna do that.
It'd be kind of cool if the Tintails itself used to be a planet that through Shinjutsu transformed itself into a Tintails, such as like Daikokutin shrinking it down, maybe. It's like something with creation of all things, giving it life, breathing life into it.
Mhm.
Something could be cool if they did that. The Tintails is
Yeah.
a planet.
So it's like a seedling planet, sort of.
Exactly, and that's why it takes life out of
Yeah.
other planets. Maybe to gain back what it once lost from the Otsutsuki. I mean, either way, I do think
The
that
comment that though it doesn't do that at the end. Like I like that's a concept, but like all that happens is just kills the planet and
well, to
that's
be
it.
fair,
That's
Kamui, have you read the book Everyone Poops?
Well, I know who didn't read it. Gurr.
Shout out Kev Kev.
Well, no, but the thing is, I feel like if they were going to do that, they should have like this blatantly would just contradict many panels we've seen in Boruto. But it would be cool if Amado said and it was shown that like the tree either withers away or it sinks back into the ground or something to imply that like it's integrating with the planet itself. So in which case it would be as if Ishiki kills the planet by turning into a Ten-Tails. Then that Ten-Tails is essentially wanting to be a planet again, and it would absorb the life of a different planet to get its planet back, basically. The problem, though, is it just doesn't work with the designs of what's happening. It's just killing a planet, the tree's just there, and that's that. Like,
Yeah.
it's not doing that.
Quick question: how do I stop this from pausing whenever I click on the chapter, because it says your stream is still running. We pause this to save your resources. Like, how do I stop this from doing that? And to keep it like running even while I'm not really clicking on the stream to bring it back up.
I don't know, but I'm thinking it might have to do with like your CPU, GPU power, whatever nonsense. I don't know.
Oh, that's so
Couldn't tell you.
crazy. Hold on, let me see. I'll figure something out.
I'm an immortal for you to figure that out real quick. We could. Well, Dr. Strangle had something to say on this topic. I like the Tintails design, but I dislike the drab gray color it is. I would like it if it was more of a brown tree color or white like the Otsutskis. And in my opinion, it is the brown tree color, but I can also see the gray drab at the same time. But I feel like either way, if you're having it gray or brown, that's still just one color across its entire color scheme. I feel like you're running the same issue, honestly. If anything, it's cool if it's gray at first, because when it's a tree later, it can be brown, and then that is variety.
Well, honestly, he's this, but like this is just Boruto versus Naruto. Because in Naruto, it is much more of a brown hue. This is especially apparent when you're looking at like the humanoid Ten-Tails before it becomes the Shinju. Its color doesn't really drastically change. Yes, I would say it gets more brown as a tree, but like it's pretty
pretty much brown, you know. But in the Boruto era, you're looking at Ishiki's Dimension Door. That thing is just straight up gray.
To be fair, that might
Not
be a
brown.
difference of Earth at night
Lighting.
compared to the whitest of all white dimensions during whatever purpled sky time of day it is.
Yeah, what time of day is it in Ishiki's Dimension?
It's that Daikoku-ten? It's
You
not.
can't call it night because it's light out, but you can't call it day. It's dark in the sky. But what is this place? How does it even make sense? Where's the light source coming from?
From the Ten-Tails! That's why it's so light. I mean, there's holograms around. You don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is it coming from the stone tablets? That's where the light's coming from.
Yeah, it's just all the light.
It had to come from the cage. It probably might.
The
have came from
dark
the
ass cage.
In fact, let me go ahead and let me pull that up.
Kamui's way ahead of you.
Okay.
To be fair, I feel like the manga version of this would be the least exciting version to see, but either way.
It is the quickest to pull up, though, with the least copyright potential.
That's true. But, there we go. That's a good version.
Okay, hold on.
To be fair, it's not purple in the manga.
True, it's like light in the manga.
But
Oh,
everything
shit, it
is
is
black
coming
and
from-
white in the manga.
Oh, wow. I think it is coming from the cage.
What?
What's coming from the cage? You talking about the holograms or the light
The hologram,
source?
yeah.
Oh no,
The
we were
light
ta-
source, the hologram.
no. Okay, so we were talking about the light. So go to the previous page, or whatever before the holograms are shown.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're just talking about in general, like on the first page, where is the light coming from? Because it's a dark
all the
sky at
light.
the end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's what.
Yeah, it's still I understand that.
Because, okay, when I thought you were saying the cage, I thought you were memeing and saying below the cage rather than on top of it.
No,
where
no,
it's
no, no, no.
clearly
No, I meant on
pitch
top.
black in
I was
there.
gonna say,
I meant on
maybe
top
the
of the
cage
cage.
absorbed all the
Yeah.
darkness.
If it was in the cage, I don't think Sasuke would be alive right now because there's already a 10 tails inside that cage. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But it
Yeah,
would be
can
pretty
we
funny.
even call this a cage?
I mean, Immortal can.
I mean, how can the 10 tails escape? It's small, but it's not.
It can
like,
jump
that
really
small.
high. It just
How?
breaks the top.
Yeah.
Is it strong enough to break? What kind of material is this cage even made out of?
Does
for
it
it to be able
matter?
to do
It's
that?
the Ten Tails.
It can
How
shoot
can
a
it- but
Pichu
it won't be
bomb
able to-
out that.
Exactly.
It won't be. I wholeheartedly believe
Is
it
this
won't be able to break out of the cage.
anti-ninjutsu like cage? What is this?
Okay,
It's
if it
definitely
couldn't break out of
Yamato
the
in that
cage,
case.
Immortal, why is it pinned down?
I don't know why they pinned down the 10 tails.
Because it would have broken out of the cage.
I don't think this is a cage. They wouldn't do the Rinnegan design on top and have the hologram.
I feel like
there
the
if it
only.
was.
I feel like the
For the
only reason why it was.
holograms.
I mean, I feel like the only reason why it was pinned down was because Code was trying to, glob off of it, creating more claw
No, it was pinned down before that. Like in
pinned
this
down by
chapter,
the
it's
I mean,
black rock.
actually, yeah, it was pinned down, but I don't know why Jigen did that.
So it won't
Because it
escape
would have
the cage. To be fair,
Okay.
it's not like the Ten Tails is even big enough to get out of the cage. He'd have to break the entirety of the ground in order to get out.
Yeah.
But
What if it just dug?
he totally could, by the way.
Dug around it. Like Naruto versus
Maybe.
Neji.
I just can't wait for like chapter 122 when they randomly cut to the Ten Tails planet and introduce the next like 8 Otsutskis, and then we can pull up the 10 grains of nostalgia guys comments of all the Greek mythology of every Otsutsuki ever to determine the next 10 years of what Boruto's villains are going to look like. That's the plan.
Well, I think the biggest issue a lot of people have with the Otsutskis is their goals are almost well. If you include Momoshiki, Ishiki, Kenshiki, and potentially any Otsutsuki afterwards, their goal is just to devour a planet and become a god.
Well,
That's
that
just
in and of itself isn't a problem.
It's not a
As
problem.
long
It's
as
just
you establish why that matters to them, like the why behind their goal. Technically speaking, you could just have all of them have the same goal. That's not even inherently a problem, but they're not treated as a group, but more so as individuals. Okay, so I don't remember, Oodie, we talked about this once before. Somebody used half of the example, and I'll lead you for the other half. In Hunter x Hunter, it's not that the Phantom Troop is the entity, and then all the characters make up the Phantom Troop, so much as it is, there are 13 members, 13 characters, who are all individually characters who just so happen to be in a Phantom Troop more so. In this case, it's kind of the Otsutsuki, but the difference is, while they're all separate characters who just so happen to be Otsutsuki, they all are exactly the same in that they have the exact same goal with no reason why, and the exact same philosophies, and blah, blah, blah. So they just need to give us more. Why does Momoshiki want to do this? Why does Ishiki want to do this? How is that different from Kaguya? How is it different between Momoshiki and Ishiki? And if they just give us that, this quote-unquote problem goes away. And it's not even tactically a problem, even if they don't. It's just kind of boring otherwise. Because, like, for example, Jura's views on humanity are likely going to be different from Hidari's in the end. There's a purpose of having two different characters. So why do we have Momoshiki and Ishiki aside from their relations to Boruto and Kawaki? The fact that you just need two different entities to give a karma to each of them. Aside from that, what is the point? I don't know. I don't know what Momoshiki's character arc is compared to Ishiki. Do they have one? So that's kind of that.
I like how you said you're going to need me for the other half, gave the half you remembered, and then just kept going, refusing to stop for a second. Like you gave your elaboration, and you moved on to examples, and then a conclusion. Even after all of that, you still didn't call back to me or anything. Okay, whatever. So the other half of it, Kamui, was
I couldn't remember how to combine them.
The other half was the Akatsuki, and I hate to use the word one's doing it right and one's doing it wrong, because we were saying the Akatsuki was doing it wrong, whereas the Phantom Troop's doing it right. But more so, like, the Phantom Troop is being characters as individuals who happen to be a part of an organization, whereas the Akatsuki is the other way around. They're an organization that happen to be made up of individual characters. But realistically, those characters, half of their character is just a Akatsuki member, and that's just it. Whereas the Phantom Troop, it feels like they're actually individual characters with individuality to them. So, in terms of what Kamui's saying, I agree with it all, except for, like, all of it I disagree with. So the problem with it, Kamui, apart from, like, all of it that I agree, the parts that I all of it disagree with is, first of all, there's, like, an Otsutsuki creed, and then it's, a lot of it's the clan, and the whole clan's watching Toneri.
Like, it's not even in the manga, though. So it's like, how important is this quote-unquote Otsutsuki creed nonsense if it's not even in the manga?
They're moving in pairs of duos as well, for the sake of the clan. Kaguya betrayed not Ishiki, but the clan, to the point that Momoshiki's coming to Kaguya's sector to ask about Kaguya, and that Kaguya was worried about Momoshiki, not Ishiki. Everything's leading to me that it's the Otsutsuki's a clan, and they're treating it like a clan. Also, the fact that, we don't know their characterizations. It's clearly, obviously inspired based on Buddhist enlightenment. What is it? Ascending? What is the word for that? What is it? What is it?
Transcend.
Transcend, I guess. They want to transcend, just like Buddhist enlightenment, and go to the next dimension. What Shibai did. The fact that Shibai's already done it tells me that's what all the other Otsutskis are working for. That's why they want to become God and evolve. And I feel like they've said it as explicitly as they need to. They don't need... Obviously, I would like for them to go into more detail, but I don't think they need to, at least in this regard.
Well, that's why I said it isn't inherently a problem. It's just that it's not Momoshiki or Ishiki. It's just the Otsutsuki, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Unless they give us a unique Y for Momoshiki that's different from Ishiki's Y and Kaguya's Y and so on. Because so far, Kaguya is really the only one that's distinct.
But
and
I feel like
that is shrouded in mystery.
Well, Kaguya is not going for the same thing anyways. I feel like explaining why they want to transcend takes away from the Hinduist, Buddhist enlightenment idea in the first place, since that goes back to what humans think of as the most pure thing imaginable. Essentially heaven. They just want evolution to be the best thing they can be, and what that is could look different for everyone. But like, I feel like to explain what it is to those individuals makes it less relatable.
No, I don't mean what it is, but why they care. Because otherwise, I'm not even, like I said, to reiterate, I'm not saying it's a problem, but what I'm saying is, if they don't do that, then it's not about Momoshiki or Ishiki, it's just the Otsutsuki. It's just the group and not the in that case, is all I'm saying.
But Kamui,
unless
again,
they give us the individuality.
I feel like saying why they care is all... I don't want to use the word outrageous, because I don't even think that is hyperbole, it just sounds like hyperbole. But why?
It's not out. No.
Everyone in the story, in and out of it, wants the same thing.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
No other character that is an Otsutsuki, aside from Orochimaru, is trying to do what they're doing.
They don't have to try to do what they're doing. They're going about it in a different way.
Naruto's not trying to become a god.
Not physically. And that's not what they're trying to do. It's what they are doing, but it's not what they're... It's not their goal.
See, you say that, but like, if you take the dialogue as written, that is their goal.
Yes, that's what they say. But what they mean is that they want to become an Otsutsuki god, which means that they transcend this reality, which is the Edo world, into essentially the Pure Lands.
You just completely made headcanon and said that was fact.
I mean, I'm sorry that you didn't read the series.
The series never once is A, the Edo realm, B, that they're going to the Pure Lands and that is where Shibai is, or C, that they want to be an Otsutsuki god, or D, that they, whatever else you said, they only say they want to become a god.
A hater's gonna hate. Like, everything you just said is ridiculous. That's all ridiculous, Kamui. Hope you realize that. Everything you just said.
What's... How?
Okay, first of all, Kamui, if the Otsutsuki say they want to become a god, you think that's headcanon to say they want to become an Otsutsuki god?
Yes, because those are two different things.
You're ridiculous.
They have two different meanings.
You're ridiculous.
No, it's that they are not necessarily the same thing.
Kamui.
Because one of them's implying you want to be the god of the Otsutsuki. The other's implying
no, it isn't.
You want to be a god, period.
No, it isn't. Why can't there be multiple Otsutsuki gods?
Well, first of all, if you take Mabushiki's dialogue, you don't even know if those gods are Otsutsuki.
The only gods in the verse right now are the pretty much the Otsutskis.
No, former Otsutsuki potentially. Depends on what Momoshiki meant by was an Otsutsuki.
Bro, the fact that Amado told us what an Otsutsuki god is, and we got the panel showing
he
what an
didn't.
Otsutsuki god
No,
is.
he doesn't say Otsutsuki God. That is entirely the fandom.
Oh my god, Kamui.
He says that
I'm
they
guessing-
became gods, not Otsutsuki gods. This is the fandom.
Okay, and they
So-
all want to be that. The same thing. Yes, they do. It's not
It's not the
headcanon.
same
Stop
thing.
your nonsense.
It's not the same
If-
thing, and everything else you said about
okay.
the Pure Lands is just your theory.
That's
I don't
not
wanna
a
hear
theory,
you-
Kamui. That just is Japanese mythology. That's why it's called Edo Tensei.
Oodie.
Mm.
I'm not talking about Edo to Pure Lands. I'm talking about the fact that Shibai's dimension is the Pure
I didn't
Lands.
say it
That your
is the Pure
theory.
Lands. I said it's like the Pure Lands. The point is they're transcending from the Edo world to go to something like the Pure Lands.
You said no. You didn't say like. You just said the.
No, I didn't. But whatever.
You did.
I'm sorry you heard that. Maybe Discord cut it off.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Anyways. But anyways.
But anyway,
Oh my god.
what are you? But anyway, too.
So if the Otsutsuki gods aren't the only gods in the verse, if we're taking that into account, the Reaper Death God, Lord Joshin, maybe some other gods that were, I think, were shown in the original Naruto manga, then are you saying that there are
There's the
other gods
of
other?
Shinobi.
Well, first of all, there aren't gods of shinobi. Those are fairy tales and or status titles of which they live up to their reputation, of which their power is, I forget exactly what they describe in the work, but like enormous, out of their league, unimaginable.
Something that, yeah.
Well, hypothetically,
It's like a
what
god.
if the same applies to What if the same applies to Shibai?
It
Well,
doesn't. Shibai ascended
wouldn't-
reality, the Edo land.
Yeah. We don't even know if he actually
Well,
created
you just said it again. The Edo Land, not something like the Edo Land.
Kamui, it
No.
is the Edo land.
How do you know that Shibai created the Edo Land?
Well, I don't
What
think it could
are
be
you
Shibai.
talking about?
Okay, so I don't think it could be Shibai, since in the added additional lore in Volume 2, when we're talking about Kami Otsuki and him creating the world and all his infinite possibilities with
Kamio
omnivorous.
Suzuki.
What Kami, I don't. Okay, Kamio Suzuki.
Okay, so real quick, this is so random, but since we keep saying the word counterfeit, chance you're gonna say what I'm thinking.
God.
I'll reiterate. But if you actually say this, I will be mind blown. But just to increase the odds, I'll give you a small hint. I'm not going to specify. We did talk about, I don't know how much is to specify. We talked about this thing, which is the thing I think of when I hear the word counterfeit. We didn't spend much time on it. In fact, almost no time. But it was brought up, and it was funny. And then we moved on.
Okay. Doubt I'm gonna know. Oh,
So, what do you think? Okay, I'll give you a hint. A show. So the name of a show.
Teletubbies,
What
Barney?
show do you think of? Huh?
Is it Teletubbies or Barney?
No.
Okay.
No. So when you hear the word counterfeit, what show do you think of?
Yeah, Cam Plazlo.
Or even movie. I'll even say movie. This is
Oh.
kind of cheating, but movie.
Okay. The
Movies
Corpse
for
Bride. Is that when we did this? Hey, Carly. Take a
You're not gonna
guess.
guess it.
Hey, Arnold.
Okay, should I just tell you?
Yeah.
Okay, so when I hear the word counterfeit, you can't undo it. I always instantly think about Drake and Josh Go Hollywood.
Okay, we did talk about it a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's understandable. Oh my god. Okay. Immortal.
So anyway,
I feel like we should get back to one of your topics since I feel bad at this point.
Larger topics.
Yeah.
All right.
Unless you had anything to say on any of the topics. And to be fair, we did discuss a cool couple of good serious topics.
Yeah, I was wondering, were we ever going to talk about the sneak peek?
Beatski's in it. That's all I know.
Yeah, I mean,
but I was just...
We both saw it, but didn't look at it.
Yeah, it's Sage Mode Mitsuki. I think he's using a snake. Probably attacking Ryu.
As far as I'm aware, he's done nothing in the sneak peek he hasn't already done. It's just the fact that he's seemingly doing it despite the fact that he couldn't/didn't before.
I mean, as long as he's doing something cool that's like Sage Mode exclusive and or Sage Mode exclusive in terms of power, I'm down.
And nobody else is able to do it, and he's carrying the fight, being the true MVP, then I'm all for it.
Yeah. So now my question is,
hold on. Sorry,
yeah, Mortal, maybe you should be a little bit careful.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry about that. My bad. I was trying to show. Hold on, let me get on here.
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw a comment saying, like, where's Sarada? And to that I say, Sarada better not be doing whatever Mitsuki's doing, or I will be mad and return back to my complaints from before.
So, Immortal, my question is, and I'm not going to look at the sneak peek if you have it on your screen. I'll show you your full screen or whatever, but I'm not going to look. So, my question is, it seems like they're fighting Ryu again. So, my question, how and or why do you think they're fighting him? Do you think this is later in the chapter, after they already broke the paralysis that he should do again? If so, how do you think they broke their paralysis that Ryu started the fight with and that Araya's sword got them out of in the first place, of which Araya doesn't have a sword anymore? Or do you think Ryu and or Ikimoto forgot?
Or a third possibility is that this is like the first page of the next chapter.
That as well, yeah.
And so he's doing this before Ryu does the paralysis again.
Oh shit. Okay. You mentioned something about the paralysis. The question is just like when you guys ask questions like that.
I'll rephrase simpler. Yeah. Okay. So remember at the beginning of the fight, Ryu's doing that paralysis thing that makes them paralyzed?
That's not rephrasing, Kamui. What do you mean?
I'm just okay, whatever. I'm restarting. Okay. Do you remember that, Immortal?
Yeah.
Okay. So the solution was Araya's sword. That's gone now. So the question is, this panel, is it or number one, is it occurring before Ryu does the paralysis again? So it's like the first page of the next chapter. Is it number two, after the solution that they have to come up with to solve the paralysis again? Or I guess 2B would be, this is the solution. Or 3,
I would hate that.
Ikimoto forgot.
Yeah.
I'll say this is B. After.
Okay. Well, that would be 2.
So what do you think the solution is?
But, yeah.
I'm guessing for the paralysis, as in like, are you talking about as Ryu controlling everybody with his iron hand?
Yeah, when he's like puppeting and paralyzing and all that.
And the Shinkones are made of pure Hashirama cells, aren't they?
I don't know about pure.
Aren't the Shinkones
I don't think they're any Hashirama cell. They're just Shin's teeth.
Huh.
They have the Mangekyo, but
I don't know.
I mean,
Because I've been
correct me
noticing
if I'm
that.
wrong, Kamui. Do they have any Hashirama cells? Did Shin
So,
have
no,
any
I think
Hashirama
they
cells?
just are Shin. What might be giving you that impression is the fact that Sasuke mentions Danzo's arm, and what that
Yeah.
is that Danzo's arm is essentially a Shin arm because Shin could take in any DNA willy-nilly with no problems. So by using a Shin arm, Danzo could then take in the Sharingan and Hashirama cells.
But also, correct me if I'm wrong. Well, no, I guess the Hashirama cells were in Danzo's arms, right? His arm.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say his shoulder because that's where the tree comes out of, but it came out of the tree because that's where his arms connected to.
Yeah.
Okay. It should have been like on his chest heart area like it was for Madara, but whatever.
I know. But then again, what would you do? Would he open up his shirt and show Sharingans all over his chest?
I mean, in a way, that'd be almost cooler.
That would be pretty cool. No, actually, this only works for two of the. Oh no, okay. Actually, I'll go through what I just went through in my head. So the first one is where like Madara's have the eyes closed Hashirama. In Danzo's case, they would be Sharingan in those eye sockets. And then I was like, well, that's only two eyes. So then this is where it gets goofy. It's like a snowman. He's got like another 8 making a smiley face. Just to rub it into Sasuke's face.
No. The best way to rub it in is he has the Sharingan in a formation that resembles Itachi's face. For no reason.
I was gonna say the Maji.
What?
Veggies
Danzo, did Kakashi teach it to you?
No, that's why he's mad at Kakashi when Kakashi shows up later. He thinks that Kakashi's connected to all this.
Especially since Kakashi has a Sharingan. He thinks he's in on it with Danzo.
That's worth it.
All right, I'm about to head out, fellas.
Fair enough.
Okay.
All right. I'll see you guys
See
next
ya.
stream. See ya.
Okay. So, I feel like that's also a great opportunity to segue to a different topic.
Yes.
Okay.
Which one?
Well, we could segue back to one of the topics from the first stream that got cut off, unfortunately.
Which one?
Well, the one that you would want the least, probably.
Is it gonna be the MS abilities again?
Yep.
No, bro.
I was
what
almost
have
done
you
with
not
it.
said yet?
The end of it.
I don't understand. Because, like, as far as I'm concerned, I'm just waiting to make a video on these at some unspecified point, probably 3 years from now.
Okay, well, listen, this isn't even just to directly counter you, because I feel like you think this is to attack you or something. This is just for stream, plus that was mostly just the first half that counters the previous time we talked about
the other parts of this.
I've addressed everything up above.
Until...
I've read up until here. We've not covered any of this. All of this is rewrite. Plus, I did edit some of this after you commented anyway, so you haven't even seen some of this. A lot of this is rewrite from this point onwards.
Oh well, I read. The only thing I might. No, I have read all of that.
All of it? Okay, well, at least I edited this part at a second time of editing.
I also read that though. That's why I initially was just like, yeah, I read it because I saw that.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go over it anyways. So, in terms of the Mangekyo abilities, people always say that, oh, it has to do with their characters. Obito's making a new reality because that goes along with the reality's fake, so he's making his own, and blah, blah, and all these stretches that would be cool if they're true, but I don't think Kishimoto had that in mind. And I'm recapping this just because it's a new stream, Kamui, even though I know we addressed this 3 hours ago, but, you know, it's for a new stream. Alright, anyway, so I don't think all this applies. I don't think Sasuke has Amaterasu because, oh, he's seeing the darkness in the shinobi world and he's gonna cleanse it. And I don't think Madara has Limbo because he's trusting himself only and he's watching his own back and anything else that anyone would say, etc., etc. For all the other Mangekyos, I don't think that Kishimoto's doing that. I think he's making the abilities as whatever ability, not like as a specific ability for a specific character, but as whatever ability just because it's freaking cool. Same with the Menoteji Kara, and like practically every other ability, especially the religious Shintoism, Hindu, Buddhist ones in the series. I think that's where he's getting his inspiration. He's turning into a cool shonen ability where he's focused on the shonen aspect of it and the power system and how it actually operates and works rather than the narrative. And this is like one of the only times I'm gonna say this, since I do think it is a story first and a shonen battle manga second. So I think he does focus on narrative things first, but I just don't think this is one of those aspects. I think people are making a reach for it. Okay, with all that recap out of the way, onto the rewrite
So real quick,
yeah.
I might as well say this because we're recapping anyway. You just admitted that you think it would be great if it was true. Right?
In terms of some of it.
Okay, yes, because some stuff that I've heard you say just seems stupid, but like contrasting with some of the Attack on Titan ones to where we're just like, this is just not even true at all. So what seems like you're saying is more this, at least some of it. Like I said, I don't know which things you haven't seen, but the stuff that isn't just stupid anyway would be great if it was on Kishimoto's mind the whole time. With that in mind, I do find it funny that you're just so vehemently like, there's no way you could have possibly thought of it. Not a chance. It's like, man, you're really just don't believe in Kishimoto. You think this was Ikimoto or something. You're like, there's not a chance he thought of that.
I'm being realistic where I feel like others amplify it to a godly mastermind degree. Not even Kishimoto, specifically the Attack on Titan mangaka. It's like, again, the fish thing, the episode 1 to the finale, the cut in the head.
Okay,
like, come on.
But that's not Obito's manga.
Okay. That's a little bit of hyperbole compared to this.
You're
I
making
agree.
it out to be the exact same thing, but it's like, okay, no.
I disagree that I've ever made it out to be the exact same thing. I made the comparison, but I always said that one was crazier. I think every single time I brought it up.
But that's why I said, but like you just said, if this was Kishimoto's intent, do you think it's all fine and dandy great? But you vehemently think there's not a chance.
That's not even true. I even said earlier, I even gave it the benefit of the doubt, probably more than I actually think. I said it's a 50-50. It might be, but people make it out as if it just is the case, and that's what I have a problem with.
I don't know why you have such a problem with it.
Because people say it is, I guess. I don't think it was intentional. But anyways, because there's so many other things that he's worried about making intentional. He has an actual story to focus on. He doesn't have time for this nonsense. Plus the fact that he's a weekly shonen after having done it for like 10 freaking years at this point. He's not doing it. He's focused on the Naruto versus Sasuke finale fight and writing that at this point of the story.
You're gonna hate this. But what if the editors came up with this idea instead?
So,
like, what if the editors say, hey, Madara should have Limbo because of blank stuff that Madara's been doing all this time? This is especially if there was one that was gonna happen for Madara's Limbo is the one that is the easiest to do, because 99% of Madara was already established before Limbo was even introduced. So of all the abilities, that's the one Kishimoto could have been like, you know what? This fits Madara's character. You know, whereas for Kamui, it's the reverse. Kamui came before Obito's character was actually outside of his flashback, actually fleshed out.
Okay.
So
I'll get to Limbo next. In terms of the editors, when I say Kishimoto, I suppose you could just throw the editors in there as if Kishimoto is the company, essentially, that makes the manga rather than the individual. Because Kishimoto's taking all their advice and he's the one that's writing it at the end of the day anyways. But I don't think regardless of Kishimoto, I don't think it's written in a way that makes it feel as if it's intentional, which would include the editors.
why? What about the writing makes it feel unintentional?
Okay, so for
Because
example,
not everything needs to be in universe, especially important. It can just be a cool, symbolic Easter egg and nothing more.
I agree, and there's plenty of things like that. But
Just
for
so
this
why
specifically,
do you just
so,
so
okay.
strongly believe this isn't the case?
It's not even that again, I feel like you're unfairly wording it. It's not that I think it isn't the case. It's that I don't think it necessarily is the case like other people do.
But you did say that you don't think it's the case, so that is what you are arguing.
I think
I know you're saying you're both arguing that it isn't the case and that it isn't necessarily the case.
Okay, so
But
I
you
don't think
are
it's a
arguing it isn't
0%,
the case.
but I think it's below 50%. I think it's less likely the case than it is the case.
Yeah, so what about the writing makes you think that?
So, okay, going with Limbo for an example, what did they focus on? Not the fact that it's Madara's clones, because if they were going to do Madara's clones, they could have done literally anything. They could have been wood clones, they could have been fire clones, they could have been lightning clones, they could have been water clones, they could have been shadow clones, they could have been any type of clone. But they're focusing on the fact that Sasuke can see it with the Rinnegan, and Naruto can sense it, and oh, these things are weird. But they're so weird and so focused on and so emphasized in so many different ways, except for the fact that they're Madara's clones.
But again, I don't know what videos you're watching, but the important part isn't the clone per se, but
It's
the fact that it's
Madara.
it's the way that jutsu works, and that it's like clones in some other realm that isn't this Earth dimension, yet is affecting the Earth dimension. It's the jutsu's functionality. It's not really the clone aspect, but the rest of Limbo. To me, anyway, that really matters.
Okay, that is cool. I'll give you
it's
that.
it's more like I'm trying to be vague. I'm intentionally trying to be vague because I want to put value.
No, that's
into
fair.
my
That's
own
fair. I don't
videos,
think I've
but
ever heard
it's
someone say it
more
like
that
that.
he's affecting reality from another plane of existence than it is the clone. As the clone's just the how you get there.
Sure, I'll give that to you. That's cool. Whether or not that's intentional, I think that's definitely not written in a way that's really focused on that he's doing the
It's not.
same
That's
thing.
why I consider these cool symbolic Easter eggs.
See, that's
I'm
exactly
not
what I was going to
saying
say.
it's
Exactly.
the narrative.
If it is intentional, it's an Easter egg, not really a narrative thing, in my opinion.
Yes. So, especially with modern, I mean, even with Obito, I would say is arguably this. See, Itachi in one sense you could argue, but in a different way. With Obito, I feel like you could make the strongest narrative argument, but even then, it's not really a narrative. It is still just a cool symbolic Easter egg because in the story, the fact that he has Kamui blah 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 has nothing to do with anything. So I can't really call it the story, even with Itachi. Even though it is his character, at the same time, the fact that he has Tsukuyomi doesn't really mean anything to the story at all. It's just a cool Easter egg that is befitting of his character. And that's really all they are. But I still like it a lot.
Yeah.
Which is why I want to make videos on in the first place, because I think it's cool.
No, I
and
like
I
it too. I think it is
I don't
cool as
remember
well.
what we were talking about, but I said I didn't want to lose that. But
regardless if it's intentional, I do think it is a cool Easter egg, at least to point out. I don't think it's a narrative connection or tie to an analysis, especially not intentionally so. But I do think it is a cool Easter egg and something cool to point out.
Which is entirely the purpose of my videos anyway. But
exactly.
Okay, I
but
really
the problem is
see what
others
people are saying
frame
about
it
Limbo now,
that
though,
way.
because you're mentioning the clone thing. I'm like, man, what are people saying?
Well, I was assuming what you were going to go with is the fact that they're clones of Madara, so that it's Madara doing everything, and it's the same thing that you say about
You're
Black
just making
Zetsu.
assumptions. I already told you, like,
I told you that I was, but yeah.
I mean, the main thing with Madara, I really could just say in one sentence right now and just make it sound less cool than it is. But like, I don't know. I the problem is I don't even know. Let me actually check if I even wrote out anything.
Well,
or if I
Limbo's doing
just
the same
had
thing
the
about
idea and never wrote it, because I
Limbo's-
honestly bet you it's probably the latter.
Okay. I mean, Limbo's doing the same thing that Infinite Tsukiyomi is in a way, which I think is cool, regardless if it's intended or a narrative thing or not. I don't think that's a narrative thing. Otherwise, I think they would have like commented on that, especially Naruto would have. But
Yeah, I wrote like one sentence in here, but I mean that's all I really need anyway. Well, actually, I think this is me, right? I think this was just me adding to what I wrote nothing about. I think I just originally wrote Limbo,
sure.
never wrote it,
Oh my
and then like
God.
2 years later, I wrote a little bit more, and now it's like another year later.
Now, I just want to say, Kamui, I went into this expressing the fact this was the thing you want to talk about least. And not only have you elongated this 20 billion minutes longer than it could have been by adding your own recap, which recap wasn't necessary in the first place, but now you're going out of your way to look for phone notes. This is not my fault. We haven't even started yet. I haven't read a single new word about this.
Well, I think you've done a great job moving on now.
Oh my God. Are you still looking for it, or?
It doesn't really exist.
Okay.
I didn't. It just I had things in my head and never actually wrote it.
Okay.
What
The last thing I'll say is that whenever people bring this up as like a brilliant mastermind thing that was intended all along since episode 1, it's laughable how cheesy it is to the point that it comes across as embarrassing on their part. Like, it just takes me so out of it, it breaks my immersion. I'm like, bro, I can't take this seriously. I just start laughing because of how goofy and childlike it feels. Like, why are you saying this? Like, even with the Itachi Nightmare one, even though that's absolutely his character, to be like, Itachi has Tsukiyomi because he's living a nightmare. That's like, it sounds like something a kid would say.
That's why I said I feel like the more interesting ones to talk about would be Madara and Obito. Yes. But even then, as much as I want to make a video on it, I feel like originally I had a whole video's worth of things to say about Madara, but now I just feel like I can condense it down to the point that I feel like I just need to lump them all in together into one video.
It just makes me cringe when other people say it. Like it's such an important, serious thing. I'm not saying that's the way you said it earlier. I'm using the Itachi Nightmare one as an example because I think that's the most prevalent one. Because it comes across as edgy. In a way.
I mean, it is. Blame Kishimoto.
But Nightmare is obviously like dark and gothic, and that's kind of what Itachi's like anyways. When I say edgy, I mean what the people who say this come across as. Not Itachi as the specific example. So like, this applies to any of them. Like, you know, Sasuke wanting to control things with his Mangekyo. That to me is like just as edgy, even though that technically, subject matter wise, has nothing to do with darkness or gothicness or anything like that. It's as edgy.
I mean, even then,
goofy nonsense.
I honestly feel like I don't know how I would try to word Sasuke's one with flame control, because whereas you could say yes, he was directing his hatred towards the Leaf Village, at the same time, you could argue it would be better to argue that Sasuke's rage was uncontrolled, and for that reason, he should have anti-flame control.
Well, I think if anything, you would say that it's focused on a single path, and that he's replacing the void of Itachi with another specific thing to focus his hatred towards.
It's just where I say it's always walking a path. He's always targeting some specific thing, but his rage was spiraling out of control.
And even the control thing, there are things in universe, such as Obito saying that Sasuke can be easily molded in any direction right now. He's like molding clay. Or the fact that Sasuke in the end wants to tear everything down to start his new system that he's running, that he's in perfect control of, his revolution. That's, in a way, you could also say that as like a direct narrative thing in universe. Again, they're not explicitly stating it, but that is a fair connection you could make. I don't think that has to do with his flame control, I'll be honest. At least you could make that as a connection.
The flame control kind of came in way earlier than that.
Yeah. I mean, it's less of a stretch than just Sasuke felt out of control and wanted to be in control and not elaborating at all.
Yeah, I mean, it because it's happening around 5 Kage Summit time / Killer Bee fight, whatnot. I think you would have to just go with he's like focused on a single target of his hatred, which in this time period is the Leaf Village now instead of Itachi, because you can't use end of series stuff when the ability was introduced way before. For Madara's Limbo, it's a little bit different because Madara did everything he did up until then got Limbo. Obito's Kamui, I would specifically use when you're learning about Kamui and what's in close proximity to that. So in Obito's case, the War Arc, that's when you learn all about Obito anyway. So that works fine there. But yeah, for Sasuke's always like I feel like you can only do the whole his path thing, which fine, cool Easter egg, but it's the least cool of the Easter eggs.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyways.
I don't even remember what I had in mind for Shizui one day when I was trying to think of something.
Well, I think the fact that you have to try to think of something already tells
you. It tells you that like Shizui's is not really worth covering.
Okay, but getting back to this,
at least with Madara, like I remembered the gist of it without writing down.
So I'm not gonna pretend like this rewrite of the Mangekyo abilities that should be Mangekyo abilities, assuming this is a thing of intentionally trying to make it a character narrative thing, wouldn't have huge ramifications of entire things you'd have to entirely change in the series. That would domino effect change everything else. But I do think this is what would be most narratively impactful if these were the Mangekyo abilities for the specific characters without giving them something new, but just based on the jutsus that they already have in universe. So and I do list multiple possibilities, so you could just like have the puzzle pieces and just plug them in wherever you want. But
I'll let you say yours, and then I'll just give, I guess, I'll let you say them, and then I'll offer alternatives, I guess.
Do you want me to say all of them all at once before you say anything, or just want to go one at a time, and we can explain each one and like how that could work in the series?
You can go one at a time, but for Madara, skip to his other entry that's a couple lines down.
Okay.
So that you do both of them together.
Sure. Okay, then I'll just say Obito and Madara separately then. So for Obito, his Mangekyo ability could have just been the Infinite Tsukiyomi, as it is. He doesn't need the 10 Tails or the God Tree. Maybe he does, but like the point is that it's his Mangekyo ability, not the 10 Tails doing it. Since that is basically, I mean, Madara's doing it himself through his third eye. At this point, just have it be Obito's Mangekyo ability. Again, of course, how does this work? Because you'd have to remove Kamui from Obito. Not necessarily remove. Maybe you have him have 2 different abilities since you have 2 eyes.
So if he had both eyes for Obito, so there's going to be an obvious ramification that you're immediately going to pick up on. Ignoring that.
Anyways. Immediately?
He should have Tsukuyomi, and his plan is to become the Tento's Jinchuriki to make it an infinite Tsukuyomi.
Okay.
if he had both eyes, the other eye can just be Kamui. If he didn't give it to Kakashi.
Yeah. Well, I also have another possibility. So what if intangibility, or the Kamui dimension, that just is the infinite Tsukiyomi dimension? And that whenever he uses intangibility, like, that's where he's being sent, the infinite Tsukiyomi dimension, but it only applies to him. He can't send other people there. Therefore, he wants to cast Kamui, in this case, onto the moon for an infinite Kamui to put everyone in the Kamui dimension, aka infinite Tsukiyomi.
It doesn't feel like that's a genjutsu in that case, though. But
well, I don't think.
Not
that
to mention
really
the fact
matters.
that he can send people there just one at a time.
Yeah, exactly. So that's another problem.
I think realistically, because to an extent, I've always said that it would have been cool if Obito was getting the idea. So this only works if Kaguya is not doing infinite Tsukiyomi and blah blah blah. If Obito just got the idea from Itachi's jutsu and wanted to do that similar thing to the whole world. Because honestly, you posted a panel in chat somewhere, one of the topics. The way Madara talks to Obito about the jutsu in that flashback is not the infinite Tsukiyomi.
This right here.
Remember that? Yeah, okay, yeah, here you go. So this isn't the infinite Tsukiyomi at all. But what Madara and Obito are doing is like if they cast a Tsukuyomi or other genjutsu on the whole world, which is not the infinite Tsukiyomi.
So I think
that
this
makes sense.
You're not gonna like this answer. I think this is the infinite Tsukiyomi, but because Madara is aware of it, he's not projecting his will onto it to not show Obito what his infinite Tsukiyomi would be. Others don't realize that. Therefore, they are projecting their will, thus creating their own reality. It's not like Madara is creating it. They are creating their own, because Madara doesn't know what they want, only they do. They just don't realize that's what they're doing.
Doesn't make sense for Madara to be inside the infinite Tsukuyomi right now. The jutsu's not there.
So, I don't mean
She
the
can't
literal
cast
infinite
it.
Tsukiyomi.
The Geto statue can't cast it.
Because the infinite Tsukiyomi is what you cast on the moon to apply to everyone. That's why it's called the infinite Tsukiyomi, because it's doing that. But it's essentially the same idea.
No, because they even discuss that they're gonna create the perfect world of their own choosing, blah blah blah. That's how Obito discussed it in the Five Kages too. But like, what we see in the dreams just isn't what they're saying they're gonna do for a while. Like, honestly, I think it's just a retcon, to be honest.
What do you
like,
mean in
what
that regard?
Kishimoto originally was gonna have them do just isn't what he did in the end.
What do you mean by that?
The way that Obito and Madara describe it for a while is essentially they are going to pick and choose / create the perfect world from their envisionment of a perfect world. It's like they are going to put the Legos together and make it a perfect Lego system. Not that everyone is going to be having their own personal perfect dream. Those are two different ways of describing it that just aren't the same with how they explain it.
I'd have to see how they word it, and then I'd probably also check the raws on that, but either way.
It is entirely possible that Japanese translation could be at play as well. But
yeah,
at least in terms of Englishifying, they just describe what their plan is differently at first.
okay. Well, the reason I post that panel is because getting to Madara's, I have 3 different things of abilities that would be good for Madara. Technically, you could say it's 2 or 1, depending on how you view it. But the 3 that I have for Madara, and I'll say all 3 before we say anything, the 3 Mangekyo abilities that would be narratively significant for Madara to have would just be the Infinite Tsukiyomi or Black Zetsu, so he just can make a Black Zetsu like he did on Obito that one time, seemingly right before he turned into Jubito. And or maybe it has to do with the rods as well, maybe, if you want to go that far. Not that has to be the case, as well as Truth Seeker Orbs. Or the third one, which is why I posted the picture in the first place, and would be the other 2 in this case, so it's encompassing all 3, the ability to project his will in general. That would be Zetsu, that would be the Infinite Tsukiyomi, and that would be this. It would just be everything.
So, okay. That's sort of okay. So I would remove Infinite Tsukuyomi, but you could have this ability. So similar to what I said about Obito having Tsukuyomi, and he's gonna make it an Infinite Tsukuyomi with the Ten Tails' power amping it, blah blah blah. You could do a similar to thing where his ability isn't the Infinite Tsukuyomi. He's gonna cast Flamui on the sky. And that new jutsu he's calling Infinite Tsukuyomi is the idea. And I would have done something similar. And the reason I'm saying that is because I think what you're saying is similar enough in premise to Limbo in many ways, to the point that Limbo can just be his Renegon upgraded version of one of these abilities, to where he either just it changes into Limbo or Limbo is added onto it, because it's similar enough in premise to that they can just go hand in hand.
I mean, that could work. I mean, do you not like the idea that, let's just say this is a rewrite, that this is the Infinite Tsukuyomi that he's showing Obito, and so this would just be his Mangekyo ability. Let's just say for right now, his Mangekyo ability is the Infinite Tsukuyomi. He entered the Infinite Tsukuyomi based on his Mangekyo. Like Plato's cave, he realized this is a perfect world and that he's been saved, and then he's choosing to go back into the cave, aka the Edo Plane, aka the imperfect world of hell and suffering, because he wants to save everyone else.
Well, first of all, you gotta address like the fact that Obito and Madara are both trying to do it. So you either need them to be working towards the same jutsu, which wouldn't make sense if it's their unique Mangekyo abilities, or they're both trying to do the same thing in premise, but would have a different result. So, as an example, I'm just going to make an example, whether you like the example or not. Hypothetically, Obito has Tsukuyomi, and Madara has Kodo Matsukami, just to make this easy. In Obito's plan, he's going to cast a Tsukuyomi on the whole world, so everyone is in a dream. That's his plan. Madara be doing a similar idea, but he'd be casting Kodo Matsukami on the world so that Madara can control everyone in reality. So, like, they're all just doing as he says, essentially.
So that's going with the angle that they don't trust each other. I think it's perfectly fine if they're both working for the same jutsu, even if only one of them can access it. For example, we see that tons of times throughout Naruto. For example, Naruto's working towards sealing away the third Raikage when he uses his Rasen Shuriken on it. He's not sealing away the third Raikage, but he's creating the opening for other people to do that.
Yeah, but I get that. But then you just got to rewrite the dynamic of Obito and Madara, because they're blatantly just both trying to do it themselves.
Well, that's because in canon, they both have the ability to do it themselves, and this is where we're just fundamentally going to disagree, that I think they're both wanting it to be cast, rather than needing themselves to cast it. That's more so a Madara thing for you.
Especially in Obito's case, because Obito, like, they both can't go there. But regardless, if you want to say they both want to go there, blah, 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 they can't. Either Obito dies reviving Madara, so Madara can do it, or Obito does it while Madara's at Edo Tensei and doesn't go there. So they just can't both. It's one or the other.
Wait, you're saying if Obito does it, then Madara wouldn't go there?
He can't. He's at Edo Tensei. Edo Tensei didn't get Kan Infinite Tsukuyomi.
Yeah, I'm sure he would think the same thing that Sasuke thinks at the end, that Naruto will just find a way. In this case, Obito would think that Madara would find a way to Rene Tensei himself. Through anyone. Or some other way.
Bro, they literally have the discussion, like, earlier in the war arc, like if you need me to do Rene Rebirth, which would kill me, blah, blah, blah. Like, Obito literally talks to Madara about this concept.
Yeah.
Madara's only way back was Obito.
I mean, that was the easy way back, but then again, Sasuke would say the same thing to Naruto before their final fight.
Infinite Tsukuyomi and everyone's wrapped up. How is Madara bringing himself back? Like, hypothetically, he tries to rip out Granny Chiyo. Granny Chiyo's in the Genjutsu. She can't revive him.
Okay, well, you
I mean,
didn't
she was
hear
living
what I
there
just
anyway
said.
because she's an
This is the
but
same
assuming she
thing
was.
that Sasuke would have said to Naruto before their final fight. Only after the final fight is he proposing any idea that might not even work, such as implanting the eye in Kakashi.
Madara has Edo eyes. You can't just do that. And even if he could do that, who is he going to implant it in? They're all in the Infinite Tsukuyomi.
I wasn't suggesting that as a possibility. I was presenting the concept as an
nothing
example.
Madara could do. There's something that makes sense for Madara to do. And besides, Madara clearly isn't banking on that as a possibility. So they're both trying to do their plan, which requires the other to not get their way.
It's not about whether or not it's possible. It's whether or not Madara, or if Obito thinks Madara would find a way or not. And he thinks he would try.
Based on what? The only thing Obito's shown to think is that Madara wants to have him do Rene Rebirth.
Oh my god. Ridiculous. The fact that this would just be in Madara's character, that Obito knows that Madara would be the type of person to try, and the fact that there's thousands, if not millions, of jutsus that we don't know about, and that haven't even finished being created yet. There's a whole
And
Boruto
Madara's
era
doing
that we don't
none
know
of
about
them.
at the time. Why wouldn't he?
Because he doesn't have them.
What do you mean?
If he did, he would have just done that. It would have been easier than having Obito Rene Rebirth him.
He had things that we don't even know he has. We don't know what his trump card for Obito even was, but he had it. He had other contingencies.
Yes, we do know what it was. It was the frickin' seal in his heart and Black Setsu weird thing that he did.
We don't know
Black
that.
Setsu himself. Oodie, this is stupid. I'm not arguing this.
Okay, then don't. You're the one that said we know it.
Moving on.
Okay. And I do agree. It is stupid.
Thank you.
Anyways, Sasuke's Mangekyo ability should have been curing. I even wrote a whole thing about this in my notes that I want to turn into a video. Not necessarily about this, but thoughts on this in general.
Why should it be Kieran?
Well, yeah, you really need to ask? Is it not obvious? This would be, of all of Sasuke's jutsus, which one should his Mangekyo ability be? That would be the most narratively significant.
Coolness is not an answer. You said these were narratively significant.
Yeah. Do you think
So
Kirin...
he can't use it versus Itachi, the most significant time to use it. So why is it more narratively significant that it's his Mangekyo ability instead?
So, what did I start this conversation off with by saying?
Well, I know you mentioned the ramifications, but
Yeah.
in this case, you say it's more narratively significant, but he can't use it in the most narratively significant time with this change.
Why do you say
that's kind
he
of a bigger
can't?
deal than some of the other? That's a bigger deal than me saying, I know Itachi has Tsukuyomi, but Obito having it works. Like this is bigger because it's completely taking Sasuke's narrative significant moment and pushing it somewhere else, like Patrick from SpongeBob.
Kamui, you acknowledge the fact that there's big changing ramifications that rewrite the entire series through a domino effect, but you say that he can't do it here.
Well, how and why is Sasuke awakening the Mangekyo before or during the Itachi fight?
That's
oh no, is it going to be a
point.
Sarada awakening again?
It's not the point. The fact of the matter is he just has it at this point for whatever reason. I don't care how. I don't care if you think it's good or bad. The point is he does.
I do care how.
The point is this would be his...
I want you to explain why it's more narratively significant.
Why Kirin as a jutsu is more narratively significant than Amaterasu for Sasuke.
No. So
because that's what this is. That's what this is.
So I don't mean it from that perspective. I mean why is it more narratively significant that Kirin is Sasuke's Mangekyo ability rather than Kirin just being Sasuke's whatever ability that he's worked towards through training? That's what I want to know.
If there of all the jutsus that Sasuke's has, the most narratively significant one.
Sasuke, you could just make up a new jutsu for Sasuke.
That's not what this is. We're going with jutsus that are already established in universe.
And Sasuke just shouldn't have a Mangekyo ability like Mon.
All right, let's move on from this to something else.
Okay. Let me reshare my screen.
You have this Hinan and Kakuzu thing if you wanted to do that.
If you...
Oh, I remember what I went to ask Immortal. I went to ask Immortal about the freaking Shikamaru cloak, but he's gone now.
Well, Kamui.
Actually, do you want to just go to bed? It's 3 a.m.
Well, Kamui, what if I told you Obito's best Mangekyo ability would have been Edo Tensei? We're almost done with that. No, why no?
Orochimaru, bro. Don't take that away from Orochimaru.
Okay, we've already... What do you mean, take it away? The series took it away by giving it to Tobirama. It's not even my fault. He could just have a different jutsu. But I mean, the fact that he saw Rin die, he wants to create a world where Rin can be alive, it'd be perfect for his Mangekyo, and then the obviousness of the war arc. At that point, you're just having Obito do it instead of Kabuto. But I also think it would be really, really cool. I don't even think this would work necessarily the best. I think it would just be cool. Is if however way it happened, one way or another, someone, maybe Kabuto, was able to come up with some jutsu in order to bring Madara back in any way possible, and then Madara's Mangekyo was to create the Edo Tensei, and that's just something he does when he's brought back, to bring all of the Edo Tensei back for the war arc. That would be cool. Basically, instead of like what he does, like casually doing the Deep Forest Emergence, he just does Edo Tensei like there, for example, and it just creates all the Edo Tensei across the world. That would be cool for Madara's introduction. That feels kind of like what they do with JJK Season 2 with Toji in Shibuya.
I mean, that's an interesting idea. I will say, whereas I see why you would say Edo Tensei for Obito, but I definitely would argue that, like, the Genjutsu illusion-y type thing, Tsukuyomi type thing, just be more Obito.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Either way. So, okay, I had a couple other ones, and we can just blitz through these really quick. So, this is just going under the assumption that Madara did make Black Zetsu. In this...
Oh, wait, real quick.
Yeah.
Because you already kind of skipped over Itachi as Tsukuyomi. Now I know that this is going to have the Madara ramifications, but it doesn't have to. Two other ideas. If Obito's is Tsukuyomi, Itachi's could just be the Susanoo. And or it could be the Yada mirror in Tosca.
I was thinking that as well.
And he just uses it at the same time as his Susanoo.
I was thinking that. Yeah. See,
because I was gonna say, if you wanted, Madara's could also be the same thing. It just is the Susanoo.
See, what's funny, Kamui? I almost had like the exact opposite brain process of you, because obviously going down the list, I eventually got to thinking about Itachi. Well, what jutsu would be best for him? I was like, oh, well, what's his most iconic jutsu? It's the spirit weapons. Well, those are spirit weapons. Those aren't actually a Mangekyo ability in the first place, or even a jutsu. It's just an external thing that he found, but I guess it could work. Oh, wait a minute. He has Tsukuyomi. Oh, that actually... Okay, well, that's already perfect. All right. So that was already my process, my thought process. So I did think of the spirit weapons first. I'll give you that. It all...
But I mean, like, it would work. I mean, like...
I completely agree. I wanted to write it.
Would it be cool? Because hypothetically, Itachi would also be able to use it in days.
Exactly. Like, I was going to write it, but Then I
And
realized.
I mean, the Totsuka Blade's like the ultimate offense, easy replacement for Amaterasu.
Exactly.
I guess the Yatamir being an ultimate defense is nothing at all like Tsukuyomi, but
Well,
pretty
plus the
cool.
fact that Yatamir and Totsuka Blade are already like two of a kind that sort of go together, but are also distinct enough. It would just
Yeah.
make sense for the left eye, right eye ability.
Exactly. It's like Obito's Kamui abilities. They just go
Exactly.
together.
Literally, yeah.
And like hypothetically, you can imagine Itachi can just summon the. We'll use the Yatamir first. He can like either do it one of two ways. He summons it, and then he has to keep the eye active at all times to keep it there, or he could do a thing to where he would like blink his eye open, summon a Yatamir like behind his back to block an attack, blink it away, and just keep doing that to preserve chakra. However he wants to use it strategically, but he can basically just like summon the mirror to defend him from any attack.
Yeah. Well, I mean, plus it feels more like along the lines of that something like the spirit weapons are like they're called spirit weapons. What are spirits? Spirits are usually like known to be pure, unless you were gonna go like ghost ones, but that's not what I think of when I think of spirit. It's like more like the pure innocence, like
In
the
Naruto,
Hinduism,
spirit is just like
Buddhist.
the soul.
Exactly. It feels more like the Enlightenment. I mean, the fact that like the Edo lands is separate from the Pure lands, anyways. It feels more along those lines. In which case, you could argue in this case that all Mangekyo abilities are awakened out of suffering, but bring enlightenment through some sort of purity or transcendence of the ability. So obviously, spirit weapons. We just covered that. We could have Infinite Tsukiyomi would be creating a perfect world. Edo Tensei is like in this case I wouldn't even call it Edo Tensei. I would call it Pure Lands Summoning Jutsu, and then the obvious implications it's theirs.
Just a red tensei.
Yeah. What else is there? Kamui I don't think really works with this. I guess just avoiding all damage, you could argue, is in a way not in a weird way. I don't really.
Well, I guess
think
since we're saying it, should Obito's ability just be Red Eye Tensei? The problem is that he can't use it in battle.
The only ones that really wouldn't work would be Amaterasu, but if we're just giving Sasuke Kirin as his Mangekyo, then that would just work as well, since it's taking out the unrighteous and the wicked or whatever. So it would go in line with that as well. Anyways, so I'm assuming you're good to go.
It could be interesting if Sasuke's are all offensive, whereas like Itachi's is like an offense and defense, and I guess as is Obito's is very offense and defense with Kamui. So it could be like a unique thing to Sasuke's hatred. He's only thinking about offense. Like Kawaki and Boruto, he's only thinking about taking out his opponent versus protecting anyone. Could be like an interesting thing to play with there if you want to go that route.
So back to Zetsu's Mangekyo.
I was very confused by your not this line, but the next line.
Yeah, okay, this was a typo. I meant Uchiha.
Okay, because I was like,
Just
if
brain fart.
Naruto wasn't Edo Tensei, he should have been Shadow Close. I was like, what does that mean?
I guess we can cover that real quick. So you agree if Naruto's was an Uchiha, his Mangekyo ability should have been Shadow Clones. It'd be the most impactful. Again, huge ramifications. It doesn't make any sense with the series we have at all.
That or Rasengan.
Yeah.
Or both,
Well, the
yeah.
thing is, if it's Rasengans, then Sasuke's would need to be Chidori, but I think Kirin is obviously the one that it should be.
Well, Sasuke can have both. Kirin in
The
one eye,
left eye and
Chidori in
the
the other.
Okay, I'm down. Okay, I'm down.
Or no, I got one for you. Chidori in one eye, Chidori's stream in the other, and the Kirin's his Susanoo.
Even better, Sasuke unlocks the third eye, and that's his third eye's ability. The forehead thing. God.
Yeah, Madara's third eye. It's just a different thing.
Okay, if we're doing this, then what is Naruto's left and right eye if his left is Rasengan? What's its right? It's got to go along that.
Or the Rasta jerky.
But you already know the problem with that being like 10 billion years later. But I mean, it could be.
Well,
Plus the fact that this is
not only that, it just completely removes the whole learning Midato's jutsu.
Yeah, and the fact that it's just a stronger variant of the Rasengan. It's not different.
So
Why would he
This
ever
isn't
use
the other eye
Rasengan?
anymore?
Yeah.
Okay, so hypothetically, one eye is the shadow clone. What should the other eye be?
Oh god.
So I'm thinking of some goofy ones.
Okay, go for it.
I'll let me throw out some of the dumbest ones first. The other eye is the multi shadow clone shoots. All right, that's one. That's one dumb one. Another dumb one. The 1,000 Years of Death, which could also be Kakachi's Mangekyo ability.
I think that'd be funny if that's like what
ability
he said
ability.
was his Mangekyo ability was as a fake out. It's like, now I use my most deadly jutsu, my Mangekyo Sharingan! And then he does 1,000 Years of Death, tricking Naruto into thinking he's gonna use some crazy Kirin or something.
Well, no, but like, what if it is his Mangekyo ability, and then in the Dataro fight, he reveals the 1,000 Years of Death's true power,
Oh my
and he does
God.
that like at a long range, and it shoots off Dataro's arm.
Well, okay, sticking true to the 1,000 Years of Death, if it's shooting off something, I want it to shoot off a butt cheek.
No, it shoots off a kiss, and it kisses him for makeup tactics.
Yes. Oh my god. I have boring answers for Naruto's Mangekyo. So if his left eye is Shadow Clone, his right eye would be poofing the Shadow Clone or something, which I know you would hate. So that's boring.
That makes no sense.
I know. Another one could be similar to Hagoromo's creation of all things, breathing life, and then the body separately, the spirit and the body. In this case, it could be creating like the smoke of the Shadow Clone and then like the body of it as well. Or like the sentience of it and then the physical aspect. Like, you could do something like that. I wouldn't like that either. Another possibility is if it's Shadow Clone in one eye, it's a different type of clone in the other, but obviously that's boring as well. So I guess the best possibility, I think this would actually be pretty cool.
I thought of another stupid one.
Okay, well, I have one that's actually pretty cool and already in the series, something that Naruto already uses that would unironically work for this. His left eye is the Shadow Clone, the right eye is the Shadow Demon Wind Shuriken.
Okay, mine was the same as what you were saying until you said the Shadow Demon Wind Shuriken. The right eye Sage mode.
That's even no sense. I love it.
There you go.
Yeah. His right eye is just randomly Kurama. The orange paper.
Version 2 of the Four Tails.
Actually, okay.
Kurama's in the Sharingan.
Maybe you could just argue naming
Or the
fallacy.
Beach Bomb like Juron.
Oh yeah, there you go. That could work, yeah. Maybe you'll argue naming fallacy for this, but the fact that they refer to Naruto's Neji and Gaara cloak, quote unquote, as orange vapor, would you say that means it's not defensive because it's vapor?
Wait, who says it's orange vapor?
I don't remember. A couple people, I think, at least, I think Jiraiya says it.
Jiraiya's not even there.
I don't know. Someone says vapor, okay?
I'm gonna go look right now.
I'll look it up, I guess,
So,
on Google.
I assume you mean the manga, because there's no way they say this in the anime. At the dub, there's no way they're saying vapor. Part 1 Naruto anime.
I mean, here's something from the AI overview. The Naruto orange vapor reference likely refers to the orange color associated with Naruto Uzumaki's character, particularly his Nine-Tails chakra mode.
Okay, but they're just quoting what you said, so that's not really telling
Well, they're not
us.
quoting what I said. They didn't hear me.
Yeah, what you wrote.
What do you... I didn't write
Okay, he
this.
definitely
It's
didn't
not-
say it in the manga
I'm not
here.
quoting it, for sure. There's May's vapor style. I go to Google Images.
Yeah, that's gonna be Naruto's right eye Mangekyo ability.
Listen, I don't know where they say it. Someone says it, okay? You're gonna have to take my
Not
word
in the
for it.
manga. I don't think it's in the dubbed. It could be in the subbed, hypothetically. But I don't know why it wouldn't be in this manga at that point then.
Well, I don't know where it is. It might not be in one of those fights. It might just be something someone says during
For
training.
all I know, they say about the Four Tails or some shit, even though that doesn't make sense either.
You know what? I'm gonna call on the Discord community or the YouTube community. If you know where it is, comment. Thanks. Okay, so
Oh yeah, wait. Okay, I'm curious about that article. What happened to the orange spark? I just saw that. Yeah, let's read that.
it was a great nickname for Naruto. When was this ever a nickname?
It was. So
Oh,
Naruto
really?
says it like right after, or he says it to Kushina or right after Kushina or something. Because she's like, my dad's the yellow flash, you're the red hot habanero. So I guess that makes me the orange spark or something like
Okay,
close to that.
sure. Great nickname for Naruto, between the yellow flash and the red hot habanero. It should have just been the red habanero, not the red hot habanero, but I know why they did that, but whatever. It's like just randomly a third word in here when these both are two words.
Yeah,
The
no.
first color of second thing. As is the perfect mixture of light and heat, which by the way, flash, spark, habanero. Do you see the one that stands out, Kamui, as different?
I know, she should have been the red flame.
Yeah, okay, that would be cool. I was thinking the red spotlight, but I like flame better. The perfect mixture of light and heat. So why is it that it was only used once or twice and then never again? Because of the infinite QB modes, the orange gets overshadowed a bit.
Honestly, it becomes yellow anyway.
Exactly. So they look yellow
For some reason. Even though the Naruto half of Kurama was already orange-red, and Minato's half was even darker, yet somehow when you put them together, it's yellow.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, Kamui, even though it's absolutely yellow, I'm just gonna take a screenshot really quick. Okay, we're gonna take a screenshot. We're
Well, I
gonna
meant
open this
more
container.
like the KC, like not the KCM2 Kurama avatar.
So if I just get the hex color of this, and I go to the actual part of him, not the outline,
It's white.
it's white.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like as white as you could get it.
So try to get KCM2 now.
This one?
No, KCM2, like the Kurama avatar.
Okay.
Okay,
This
search
should be good.
Kurama avatar Naruto.
Is this not good for you?
No, I want the Kurama
Okay.
part of the Kurama avatar.
This I think is not from the anime.
This is like the Ashura one, which is especially yellow. I want like earlier in the war arc. This
might
is so
just
hard
be
to
easier if you
find.
find it. This maybe.
Let's just screw it.
Okay, here's one. There.
Yeah, there you go. So Minato's is on the left.
Yeah.
Naruto's on
You
the
know
right.
what,
Why
just
is this
for
so
comparison,
yellow? Why is Naruto so yellow though? When we've already seen how orange Kurama himself is.
So just for a comparison, let's get Minato's first. It's pretty good. Honestly, it looks way darker here than here, but whatever.
Yeah.
But that's why it's good to do these. And then for Naruto, it is more yellow. It's a lot more yellow.
Bright yellow.
Very bright yellow. Yeah.
Why? Like Kurama himself is orange. Naruto's saying he's the orange spark.
Also here, Minato
Yeah, here you
looks
go.
wider than Naruto.
I
Why
know,
is
and
he
his
wider?
Kurama is like brown.
That's not even how it usually is, right? He just is usually a darker KCM, right?
Yeah, at least it's not normally that white.
But I think this is from the screenshot. I don't think this is like fan art or anything.
But it could be bright and enhanced from.
But it
For
would
the
apply to the
thumbnail.
whole image, not just Minato.
Well, it could be applying to the whole image,
Well, that's
But
what I just said.
making him still brighter, but he's extra bright there.
Oh, that was weird.
Right there too.
Yeah. I don't know. Whatever. It's weird. Why is he so bright? Anyways. So, back to this. At this point, I'm assuming we'll do the heat on Kakuzu thing another night.
Yeah, the right we're moving.
Yeah. Okay, so for Zetsu, this is under the assumption that he just was made by Madara because it was Madara's Mangekyo, or he just made him in general. Or maybe you could have it be a thing of Zetsu gets it after he stabs Madara, maybe like assimilates into Madara like he did to Obito. However you want to say it, Zetsu gets Mangekyo ability at some point and it's separate from Madara because he technically would have his own Mangekyo Sharingan at this point rather than Madara's because he has his own eyes, which could be interesting. He technically would be Uchiha at that point. Either way, however you want to do it, I think the best would just be if he's made by Madara's Mangekyo, and so he's Madara's will, but then he's just like his own distinct being, therefore he gets his own Mangekyo abilities, that would be cool, but he gets Mangekyo because he's Uchiha, because he's son from Madara. Either way, he's essentially Madara's son, is how, if you want to look at it this way. So, that's how I think this could work. It would be cool if Zetsu had a Mangekyo Sharingan ability to record and manipulate, which could be the left and right eye, or like throw Shinobi history back at Teen 7. I don't know how this would work physically, but conceptually it's cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought physically that sounds hilarious, and I was curious what ideas you had in mind, because Edo Tensei is really the thing to do that with. If
Well,
you're
it's
gonna do
funny
that.
you say that, since I say, but that sort of is what Edo Tensei was.
I'll also mention that whereas in terms of the making it make sense, you had it be Madara's will, so that way he would just get a Mangekyo because that's Madara, blah, blah, blah. This only really makes more sense for Zetsu to do this and have this if he's Kaguya's will and is the progenitor of Shinobi history.
Exactly. I guess that works. I guess that's fair. Okay, that's fair. In which
That
case,
being
he could just
said,
steal a Sharingan.
Let's just go with not Mangekyos or anything, but as it is, Zetsu is just recording every battle and shit, and he is Shinobi history. I agree. He should be doing something with these recordings. There should be a purpose.
Yeah.
What thing do you want this to do mechanically for him?
So
rather than him giving the popcorn puppet show talk to Naruto and Sasuke, he's gonna have an ability. So,
yeah.
for example, I'm not saying you have to do this, but hypothetically, Zetsu records all his battles so that he can use those abilities in a one-time use or whatever it is going to be. So hypothetically, he's just going to use the Yada Mirror and Totsuka Blade because he watched the Sasuke Itachi fight as an example. Like, there should be a purpose for this.
So, okay. The Naruto we already covered, but we didn't say this, the most obvious factor. The reason why it'd be the most narratively same, they literally explicitly say it in the series. Sasuke covers it in the final fight against Naruto. It's a jutsu that covers up his loneliness. And a lot of these jutsus are things that cover up whatever weakness something has. Like Edo Tensei is the jutsu of regret. Kirin, the jutsu of vengeance. you could say a bunch of things for how these all could work. But I think a lot of it would be just good in that regard.
You have Kakashi Chidori.
Okay. We can do that now. Yeah. Or Raikiri if it's just an improved version. So what I mean by that is it was an incomplete jutsu before Obito. He's trying to develop the Rasengan, but he's adding Lightning Elemental, and we're ignoring Boruto for this. Don't worry. He can't do it because he doesn't have a Sharingan, and in this case, Minato's not going to say that's why. He's just going to say the tunnel vision thing. He's not going to even imply a Sharingan. Well, he doesn't do that anyways, but you get the idea. So, obviously, Kakashi, he gets the Sharingan, and then he perfects the Chidori. He saw Obito die. It just should be the Mangekyo. There you go. That works.
Now he is Raikiri.
Yeah, well, Raikiri would just be the improved version anyways. In this case, what I would say is that Chidori is a failed Rasengan. Raikiri is the jutsu in and of itself, all on its own, not related to the Rasengan at all. It just is either Mangekyo entirely or purely Lightning Elemental, no base Rasengan or anything. So that's why specifically Kakashi would have Raikiri, and that he can't teach it to Sasuke, who can only learn Chidori.
Sure. But then Raikiri wouldn't be an improved version of Chidori. It would just be a separate jutsu that happens to be similar.
I mean, I only wrote improved version because it just is an improved version in the anime as it is already.
Yeah.
But like, you know what I mean, right? Kiri's just the
Well, it's still
better
funny
one.
that Kakashi just didn't. I guess Sasuke just never learned the Raikiri as an adult. Why?
Well, why not?
Kakashi's still better at it.
If anything, you should have learned Purple Lightning, but
Yeah.
I mean, I think it works since it's both Kakashi and Obito that came together for their teamwork thing to create this jutsu and perfect it in the first place, which was the whole like narrative significance of this arc and what Minato was getting at, which is that translation thing that we did 3 years ago that we haven't made the video on yet, but we're working on it. At this point, Kamui, that script is 100 pages long.
At this point, it's just gonna be the final video. The first video conceived will be the last one posted.
Yeah. Okay. Then the last thing I say here, back to the Madara thing, is that the fact that Sasuke calls Naruto out in the finale for using clones because he's lonely, but says nothing about Madara using Limbo after Naruto already told Obito his mask nonsense, and I'm referring to like Kishimoto, not Sasuke in this case. The fact that that's written that way.
Sasuke didn't hear Naruto do all that.
Again, I'm talking about it from Kishimoto's perspective, not from Sasuke's perspective. Okay. Even though that was a meme anyways, but so he likely wasn't thinking whatever narrative BS you think is with this Limbo and with Black Zetsu being Madara. And you know what I already was thinking in reference to that. But,
yeah, that's why I commented what I said.
Yeah, since I clarified with Black Zetsu being Madara, telling you what my thought process was. That's what awful as it is. You've been watching all the manga. Sasuke is on the path of darkness like the Amaterasu is black! With the shocked face emoji. Exploding head. And then I'm not going to bother reading this because it's too long. I don't feel like it, but it's on the screen if anyone wants to pause to read. So there you go. Alright, cool. And I'll even scroll down, just pause, and there you go. Okay. That's all. Okay. We failed! Unless you had something extra. No? Okay, cool. Bye. And happy birthday, Space!
That's because actually, should we say that Space failed?
Space failed! Yeah.
Remember how we were gonna